We're going to tell a story today. A story for all you 16, 17-year-old boys anticipating an upcoming mission.
And 70-year-olds.
And 70-year-olds. Pressured by your peers, but you're just not sure if it's right for you. I mean, knocking doors day by day, week by week, month, and year after year. Just doesn't seem like that much fun. But we're here to tell you, as full-time missionaries of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, it's not all business. We're going to tell you about how our day went today. Everything that you're about to hear is 100% true. It happened within the last 24 hours. And I pass the ball to my good friend, Elder Paul.
Woke up early. Just rolling out of bed at 8:30. It was a rough one last night, gents. Not sure how today is gonna go. After I had somehow stubbed my big toe. We were just ready to get the day started. So I fried up some eggs and we had some bacon. We indulged in that for a good hour or so. Girded up our loins. Folded up my tie nice and neat around my neck. Zipped it up tight. Threw on my ratty old shoes. They've been through heck.
And back.
And back.
Twice.
2 times, yes. 2 times. Tied those laces up tight. Turned around and saw all the bikes. They ain't no trikes. We were out the door, not knowing beforehand the things that we were supposed to do. But we were ready. And we walked and we walked and we walked and we walked some more.
And we
Walked and we walked and we walked and we walked some more.
And we met a crazy lady. Holy crap, she looked shady. She was on a bike with a basket. And Paul said, "Heinz, you should ask her if you can ride in her basket." And I said, "Okay." So I said, "Hey ma'am, can I ride in your basket?" And she looked at me and said this, "Ha ha 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 ha," and turned and continued to walk as she held her puffy bike in her hands. She went into a tunnel and we said, "Well, this is a great opportunity for us to corner her." So us three surrounded her back against the wall, and proceeded to tell her about the Book of Mormon and the blessings that are contained between both of the covers of that book. And so she partook. And we all shook her hand and said, "Ma'am, you be grand." And then
we walked and we walked and we walked and we walked some more.
And we
Walked and we walked and we walked and we walked some more.
And we just kept on walking until we got to the place where we meant to go. This old ghetto little neighborhood that we meant to track. And the first person we ran into was an old black guy sitting on his front doorstep. He might have been sitting on his doorstep or somebody else's. You really can't tell down here. We came up and introduced ourselves as missionaries from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. He replied to us. I'm not sure what he said. Neither is Elder Heinz. neither is Elder Paul. But I believe it went something like this. In which case, Elder Hines said, yeah. And then we gave him a pamphlet. And we were on our way. And we walked and we walked and we walked and we walked some more. And we walked and we walked and we walked and we walked some more.
A couple hundred yards down the road, we ran into this lady. She looked much like a toad.
Toad.
Totally. Her name was Annette, or so it sounded. She answered the door and said, "I've been confounded." She said, "You missionaries are great men, but I'm sick this evening." We said, "Well, how long have you been sick for?" And she said, "I don't know, but it seems like an hour ago that I just got sick." And we said, "Well, great. Is there another time we can come back and share a message with you?" And she said, "I gotta run and take a poo." And we said, "That's kind of gross, but can we drop you a bomb, some reading material for that adventure?" And she said, "Great." We had set a goal for 10.
14, dude.
14, sorry. We set a goal for 14. And this was the beginning. We dropped the bomb, said our praises, had a beautiful prayer Elder Bolcom offered, closed in the name of Jesus Christ, and off we went down the road.
Yes, Lord. And we walked and we walked and we walked and we walked some more. And we walked and we walked and we walked and we walked some more.
And Elder Bolcom was up.
Yes, Lord.
And so he knocked on this door. And the pitch came.
You go.
And he saw the spin and he said, "I want that." And
Come
the
on,
door
then.
opened. There was a sweet lady wanting to hear the message of the restored gospel of Jesus Christ. And so Elder Bolcom let her have it. With both barrels, from start to finish. And she ate it up like she was eating an apple pie. Let's just say he hit that pitch out of the park. And Elder Paul was on deck, and after he hit that pitch, Elder Paul stepped up to the plate. And I said, "Look, there's your granny. And let's go teach her and her family." So Elder Paul did his thing, like a chicken wing. And she spat a peanut on the floor
Disgusting.
through one of her gaps of her teeth, her gold teeth. And I said, "Holy sweet Moses, this is
All over
gross."
fake.
But we gave her a pamphlet, Elder Paul did. And she said, "Boys, I need some shoes so I don't get a bruise on my big toe." And we said, "Okay, we'll chat with you later." And that was it.
And we walked and we walked and we walked and we walked some more. And we walked and we walked and we walked and we walked some more. We were on the door preaching to an unsuspecting neighbor when the phone started to ring and Elder Hines took it and walked away. I thought that was pretty rude.
Rude indeed.
Seriously, dude. We're gonna talk about that later. But it was okay because it was a neighbor who had received a card that we left on his doorstep. We had only left one card on one doorstep. And how Elder Hines received the impression to leave that one card on that one doorstep, I may never understand. But maybe if I humble myself and pray about it, I'll find my answer. But it didn't matter because we walked to that door. We met that feller who was a member of the church and his mother who was not a member of the church. And we began to teach her as she offered us sandwiches and ice cold water, which was of most appreciation to me, having walked many, many miles, 36.5 to be exact, give or take 15 or 20. Parentheses. Insert parentheses. I was so infatuated, if I'm using the word correctly, by the sandwiches and the water. Really didn't pay attention to what was said. I just left that to Elder Hines and Elder Paul. But I believe it went something like this. They talked and they talked and they talked and they talked some more. And they talked and they talked and they talked and they talked some more.
After that, we decided to depart, and I thought, holy shoot, we got quite the walk in front of us. And that kind member, his name was Matthew, he said, why don't I hook you up with a ride? So we got in that car, and we just took off down the road.
Thank you, Matthew.
Praise Him. We got back to the apartment, 6:30 or so, trekked up those stairs, opened up that door, stepped on through, sat on down, thought, it's time for dinner, and we don't have any food.
Oh no.
Hines said, let's go to Sonic. I politely agreed. Bulkham didn't oppose, so we got off our feet.
And we walked and we walked and we walked and we walked some more. And we walked and we walked and we walked and we walked some more.
And I ordered a $50 menu. And proceeded to finish everything but 3 or 4 tots. And so we continued back to the Beacon Point Apartments, where we call home.
Home sweet home.
Home sweet home. And I realized it felt like there was a fire in between my legs. And so I came out of the bathroom and said, boys, I'm chafing.
And
We chafed and we chafed and we chafed and we chafed some more. And we chafed and we chafed and we chafed and we chafed some more. Get the briskets are burning. What's it there? And we chafed and we chafed. Chafed some more.